Well, everybody, at the time of writing this script, it is August 24th, 2021, 3 days before the release of No More Heroes 3. And let me tell you guys, the more I think about how quick the release date is coming up, the bigger a boner I get. But that's besides the point. Now listen, I love No More Heroes, and I love Suda51, so I decided I wanted to do a video on the most badass series made by the coolest man.
Oh, fuck.
Or should I say the most badass man? I mean, because seriously, who thinks of this shit? Like, that man has some crazy fucking ideas. I mean, well, Suda did say he thinks about his games while on the shitter, and I don't know about you guys, but I have some wacky ideas on the shitter, let me tell you that. But it doesn't matter who thinks of it, because I have thought of an amazing idea for a No More Heroes 3 video, one that rivals my top 5, and one that even rivals the Beesman Funny OnlyFans page. But trust me, if they're getting rid of Prawn, then Beesman Funny is going out with a bang, let me tell you that. But the idea of this video is to make some predictions that when No More Heroes 3 actually comes out, I'll come back, read through my predictions, and see if I'm right. Which, who am I kidding? Of course I'm right. I'm going to be right. I'm Beesman Funny. I'm always right. So let's get into the first prediction. So, firstly, we have that this game is going to be crazy. And that's not to say that the last entries into the No More Heroes series aren't wacky, but I think this game is going to be much more wacky than Travis fighting a cult leader who throws his hose at him in No More Heroes 2. One glimpse of the trailer for No More Heroes 3 tells me it's going to be some wacky stuff. And after learning about Suda51 and how crazy and wacky some of his games can be, he probably has some wacky ass shit up there. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if that man saw life like how the Pyro from TF2 does, seeing everything differently. Like, I would, instead of seeing like the real world, Suda51 sees girls in chairs with pink aliens firing lasers that destroy people or turn them into pop team epic. Suda51's crazy in the best way possible, and I'm almost positive that this game is going to be oozing with charm. I mean, it'll be worse than Travis's pants when Sylvia talks to him in the first game. So my number 2 prediction, this game is going to have such smooth combat that feels great to use. However, and the downside is, we're only going to have one beam katana to use that we have to upgrade, but I'm believing that we can tinker with the stats and moves until we find a moveset that we feel comfortable playing. Now, this one would kind of suck if true, because I know Suda pulls off some cool ass designs, but I know Suda could make some really awesome, fun combat ideas that would make the game feel even better than it did in the original 2 games. So for my third prediction, multiple playable characters are going to be coming back. However, these sections will be way more streamlined and interesting than the sections in No More Heroes 2, which quite literally made me want to commit seppuku with a beam katana. The idea of playing as multiple characters wasn't a bad idea, but the execution, specifically for Shinobu's section, was just awful. Henry's section in the second game wasn't bad. I thought he had fun gameplay, and I would have actually liked to have fought some enemies as him instead of just a boss fight, but whatever. Shinobu's was just bad. The way she jumps is so janky, and her boss fight against Destroy Man is so damn annoying. I think I need to get the laser sword back out. And the last big prediction that I have for this game is that, and this is something I'm very confident about, and that being that in the final boss fight, you'll have sections where you play as each main character assisting Travis to get to the final fight with Fu. I don't know why I feel so confident about this, to be honest. Like, this kind of all rides on the idea that multiple characters are coming back, but it just feels right to me to have the weirdo otaku nerd have all the girls helping him. Well, actually, it doesn't. But, however, it does in this game, and I really can see it happening. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, Henry or Shinobu died in this game. I wouldn't expect Bad Girl to die, though. She just came back too recently, and I feel like fans would have a panic attack if one of their fan-favorite waifus just got revived and then just as quickly executed. Well, that's just about all of the big predictions that I have for this game. I do have some smaller predictions, but as Gene said in the first game, all this backstory and stuff, it'll be too boring. Everyone will skip it. So I think for some of my smaller predictions, I'm just going to fast forward through them. Watch them if you want to, or don't. Let's just see how it goes. So the last predictions are the music's going to be a banger. Seriously, listen to the 60 Shop song. The side jobs are going to be a fun distraction, but ultimately they'll get a little stale after a while. There'll be much more content in this game with different free fight missions and all kinds of various other activities. This game's going to run much better than people expect it to, especially in the open world parts. Speaking of the open world, it'll be just as bland as it was in the original game, but it can now be excused by, an alien invasion. And lastly, they're going to add much more customization to Travis Touchdown. So that's just about all of the predictions, including some of the smaller ones. I hope you bared with me through all that. Okay, fuck you, man. The only thing we can do now is just wait and see if my predictions are right on the 27th. Oh man, yes! No More Heroes 3 is finally out. I guess the only thing to do is start playing, huh? Holy shit. I need to talk to you guys about that game. That was awesome. Everybody, it's finally here. After all this time, it's finally fucking here. Oh my god, I'm so happy. This game is a fucking banger. The gameplay, the style, the everything about it is just great. Don't get me wrong, I mean, there are some flaws, but overall, this is so perfectly Suda. I seriously adore it. But listen, we came here to see if my predictions are right, so I think I'll do a mix of telling you guys if I was right or wrong, and also just giving a review of the game. So with that being said, let's just hop straight into the first prediction. For my first prediction of this game being wacky, I was absolutely right, and let me tell you guys, I'm so happy for it. This game seriously has so much charm. It's so podcastically charming with everything that it does. To give some examples of the game's serious style, and spoilers if you haven't played it yet, for this entire section basically, there are so many different areas to explore that are all visually different. And while sometimes I had some problems with frames loading in, they still all look super cool, like Call of Battle, a place that's destroyed and got absolutely wrecked by war, or the Thunderdome with its barren deserts and all kinds of interesting things to see. And of course Santa Destroy, which unfortunately does have a huge hole in the middle, most likely made by your mom. But hey, that doesn't matter. The point is, the style in this game's locales is huge, and it's not just locales, really. It's the enemies. Whether it's just like the basic scrub enemies having their own title cards that makes them feel more important than like they actually are, or the bosses with just their amazing design and fun gimmick battles. Like one boss battle is literally fucking musical chairs. Then you beat her in musical chairs and she kills herself. One is like a turn-based RPG that just evolves into like the classic hack and slash style of No More Heroes combat that we're used to, or even one that like a horror game in a school that's all first person and that genuinely made me jump sometimes. I mean, and besides the boss battles, they made a fucking anime opening and ending, like anime ending for the game. They even have like Netflix ads and little cards after fights. It's so cool and fun and funny. It's just all super fun and has such a good feel to it that fits right at home with No More Heroes. It's really and truly an awesome game stylistically. So with this prediction, I was absolutely right. Ichiban! On to number 2, the combat. Now let's start with the fact that there is only one beam katana, and it does have some really smooth combat that feels super satisfying, and all the quality of life things they have done for combat is really awesome, like the suplexes, like actually just killing enemies instead of having like the sword fall into them, and also having the suplexes make the SWAT reel spin. It's super nice and something I really wanted in the previous games, so it's a great change, but sadly not all of the changes to the combat were great. Like one of the major disappointing factors in this game for me was the fact that combat doesn't really evolve all that much. Like in the first game, you had different katanas with different combos and stats that could increase if you trained in a gym, and they had movies that taught you new suplexes that made you feel like you're leveling up. But in this game, there really isn't that. I mean, sure, there's the Death Glove, which only has 4 special moves, which was kind of disappointing after seeing how many they had in Travis Strikes Again, but it does add to the combat a lot, and
it feels like it should have been in there from like the beginning. It feels good, and the way Travis slices and dices through enemies is super satisfying. I'm just a little disappointed that the combat doesn't have as much depth as the previous one. And I don't want to sound like I'm bashing on the combat too hard, because the combat is really, really fun, and I mean that too. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be going back through the game to try to do everything and beat the game on every difficulty. I guess I'm just disappointed that we went from increasing our stats in combat skills in a gym to just doing a simple button press on arcade machine. But listen, in terms of the prediction, I think I was half right. I was right in the sense of that there's only one katana and the combat feels great, but I was wrong in how much customization you have on the weapon. But for the rating of it, if I was right or wrong, I'm not going to give you guys some bullshit if I was half right. So I'm just going to say that I was dead wrong. Sylvia. Number 3, multiple playable characters are coming back. Now, I was dead fucking wrong on this one. Now, Shinobu and Bad Girl and even Bad Man surprisingly do make their appearances, but the main character of this story is Travis. He's completely at the center, and the other people really don't make that many special appearances throughout the game, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Seriously, I'm happy that we have a quest that's Travis just being a badass by himself. It makes me feel more engrossed in his character because he almost has to go on this cosmic adventure of Avengers level threats completely on his own. So it not only makes me feel more involved in Travis's character, but it also makes him seem so badass it's crazy. But in terms of whether or not I was right on this prediction, I was dead wrong. And honestly, I really don't have too much else to say about that. Sylvia. However, my last prediction, now this was riding on the prediction above being right, and as you just heard, it was dead wrong. You don't get to play as Shinobu, or Bad Girl, or Bad Man, and I have to tell you guys something. A spoiler, a huge spoiler. Like, if you have not played the game and you don't want to be spoiled on the story, do not watch this part. But basically, I knew in the first hour of playing the game that these last 2 predictions are wrong, because almost immediately, Bad Man gets slaughtered, Shinobu gets her arms teared off, and Bad Girl's grieving for the whole game. It's seriously fucked up what they did to all the supporting cast, but it's also kinda awesome because it establishes the main villain as a strong, badass motherfucker. Also, I think the choice to kill off Badman was like a really good one. He was someone who I feel like nobody was super attached to, but having him be killed so easily has a lot of impact on us, especially after seeing how strong he was in the first game. It's kind of like the exact opposite of how The Last of Us Part 2 handle was kind of seen. Bonk! Now, I think on the subject of the main villain being strong and all this jazz, I should probably tell you about the story. So basically, a guy called Damon saves an alien called Fu when he was like a little boy. Fu vows to come back in 20 years, and when he does, he comes with a gang of goons and criminals sworn to take over Earth. And they plan to take over Earth by starting a galactic superhero ranking, so anyone can join in on the fight. So of course, Travis gets roped back into his old ways of fighting through the top 10 strongest people. Except this time, it's not for sex, it's to save the planet Earth. Now, I personally love this plot for the game. It's simple, but also has some layers with like things like Damon and Fu's relationship, and even the fact that we get to kind of know Fu throughout the story through these like cutscenes that play before you fight one of the ranked superheroes. They're really fun to watch and add a lot to Fu's character and the person you're fighting characters as well. And now, another thing I do like about the story, or I guess the game itself, is the amount of fan service they have. It's a little disappointing at times because what will normally happen is instead of fighting the alien who you're meant to fight, they get taken out by some reoccurring villain in the series. For example, they have Kimi Howell returning, aka like the Flute Girl from No More Heroes 2, who kills one of the aliens like he's absolutely nothing, then has a rap battle with Travis, and then has a duel with him. And Kimmy's not the only reoccurring character they brought back. Destroy Man and even Henry come back, and you even get to fight him in the same place where you fought him in the first game. It's such a cool ass detail. Okay, god damn it. I just got super sidetracked. I started talking about one thing, then ended with another, but on the subject of the fourth prediction, I was indeed quite wrong. Sylvia. Now for the smaller ones. The soundtrack is indeed a banger. It has some of the most Cat Rams tunes I've ever heard for a game. It's awesome. Like, seriously, listen to the Sushi Shop song or listen to Head On Battle. They're so good. As for the side jobs I talked about, they're fun at first, like I said, but they do get stale after a while. However, they do evolve more, getting more and more difficult and introducing new mechanics. Easily my favorite is Wesson mining. You explore like a big cave trying to find these gems, and sometimes enemies will just jump you, so it's just a perfect combo of odd job goofiness and the cool ass gameplay we've come to love with No More Heroes. Next, I talked about how there's going to be more content in the open world, and there definitely is. There's these Henshin missions where Travis puts on his mech suit that he has in this game, which is a new feature that's really fun, where Travis basically just takes to the skies and has to fight a giant enemy in a bullet hell type way, or the special missions that are usually just fetch quests, but with some neat dialogue and the style of Travis Strikes Again. So the point is, basically, there's much more content in this game than in any other No More Heroes. You're certainly getting your bang for your buck here. So, next topic, the frames. This is what everyone was a bitching about, and I am pleased to tell you that the game runs super smooth, not only in combat, but also in the open world sections. I did, as I said before, run into loading textures, but that was really only in Call of Battle. So overall, I would say they did a great job of just improving the frame rate for the open world sections. I mean, I played it on a Switch Lite, so I was in portable mode the whole time, and it still ran pretty good. And then in terms of the open world being bland, I would say that it never can really get too bland because you're constantly switching your locales, whether in combat or free roam, so it's always fun to explore whatever place you're roaming. And finally, the customization in this game for Travis is ass. Before you beat this game, you have 4 outfit choices. With 2 of those, you can't even change the shirt, which is like the one little bit of customization you have for Travis. Like for the hoodie outfit, I get why you can't change the shirt on this one, you're wearing a hoodie, but it makes no sense why you can't change the shirt on this black outfit. It's so weird. I mean, after the game you unlock more outfits, which is just the outfits from previous games, but with or without the jacket. But I just don't know why you don't get these throughout the game. I don't know, I'm just happy I got to customize my boys somehow, but whatever. Originally, this was going to be the end of the video after that section. But actually, I thought there was something else that I forgot to mention in this video, and that is the insanely amazing performance by Robin Atkins as Travis Touchdown. I mean, I remember when Travis Strikes Again was announced, and people were upset about Travis's voice actor being changed. Now, I'm going to be straight with you guys. Fans probably shouldn't have went on like a witch hunt like they did, but I understand where they're coming from. Especially after playing this game. Like, man, Robin Atkins is such a good voice actor. I love all the interactions Travis has with the assassins. Like, for example, one really cool thing, I guess, which is voice acting or the story in general, is when Fu comes to fight Travis and the gang for like the first time, Fu just riles up Travis and gets him pissed, causing him to fuck up. But in the last battle, it's kind of like the exact opposite of with Travis riling up Fu. And Travis just sounds so badass, which is funny because of just how goofy of a guy he is. Like, he has some dumbass lines, like when his voice cracks when he's singing in the rap battle. Now I'm in hell with my head on the stick, yo! But then he has like some really badass lines, like the one he says after he fights Gold Joe.
It's the ones who don't look like bad guys who are the real bad guys.
And side note here with Gold Joe, Travis fucking butchered him. It was badass. No joke, dog. But listen, I just had to include this section because I really think all of the interactions Travis has with the other characters are just funny and cool, and they're probably one of the biggest highlights in this game for me. Like, the Destroy Man cutscene, that cutscene is so fucking funny, dude. Seriously, if you have not watched that, even if you don't want to play the game, watch that cutscene. But that's something that's very made for the fans, I think. But honestly, it's still super funny. It's still super good. And I just can't ever bring myself to skip any cutscene that has Travis in it just because of his interactions with the aliens or the combatants that he goes against. But listen, what I'm trying to say is just thank you, Robin Atkins, for providing such a fantastic performance for Travis in all the games for the past couple of years. If this is the last No More Heroes game, just know Travis has done so well in this game. You should seriously be proud. Well, that's just about all I got for you. I know I threw in some more details and thoughts and such, so I hope you enjoyed that. And I know some points it may have sounded like I was bashing this game, but seriously, I adore this game. It so has so much character, and the combat, and I heard this recently, and I think this is a very good way of wording about the combat. It's basic done right, I guess is the word. It's real basic, but it's satisfying and it's fun. And it's just crazy to me that IGN can go and give this game a 4 out of 10. I think that's what they gave it. It was really low. It was so stupid, but listen, this game's seriously good. And if you want to leave a comment below, tell me what you thought of the game, or if you want to just call me an idiot, leave a comment down below. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!